Hi, I'm Beverly Harzog, host of Your Personal Economy. You can't control inflation or even the price of groceries, but you can control your own personal economy. And I'm going to show you just how to do that because the way you spend your money is the way you spend your life. And I want you to have the best life possible. Thanks for joining me for episode number 8, Bad Money Advice on Social Media. I have been online for a long time. I do X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't do TikTok, but amazingly, I see TikTok videos elsewhere on other social media platforms. So today, I'm going to give you an overview of some advice I've seen that I don't want you to do, either because it's inaccurate or it just doesn't make any sense. So stick with me, and we are going to get right to it. As I mentioned, I don't do TikTok, but I see a lot of their videos on X and on Facebook. And so, I'm really pretty in tune with the money trends that are going on over on TikTok. And one of the recent ones is something called loud budgeting. When I first heard this, I thought, this is ridiculous. We don't need silly names for budgeting. But then I started reading more about it, and guess what? I think I like it. I surprised myself. I liked it very much because basically it tells you to stand up for yourself and to put limits on your spending. Even if you have to tell someone else, no, I can't go out and go to an expensive restaurant with you tonight, or I'm not going to go shopping because I've already hit my budget for this week. It's being assertive, and I like that. Anything that makes you stand up for yourself and be assertive and stick to your budget, well, that's a win for me. So I don't care what you call it. You could call it loud budgeting, whatever you want to call it, just always do that. Stand up for yourself. I actually like that. Now, there's another one. It was called, I think it's already passe, but it was called girl math. And I really don't like this one. All right. This is where if you spend cash, you haven't really spent money. Okay. And they call that girl math. Well, that's just insulting. All right. Women are smart. All right. Don't talk to me about girl math. Okay. So there are a couple of things like that on TikTok, and you just have to kind of figure out for yourself what's good and what's not. And remember, an influencer isn't necessarily an expert. And also, if you come across an expert that's trying to use a one size fits all approach to everybody, to me that's a red flag because we all come from different circumstances, we have different incomes, different mindsets when it comes to money. There's a whole lot of differentiation and variables involved when it comes to money management. So I like a more nuanced approach. And that's what I try to do with my podcast, Your Personal Economy. I want to be sure that I give you the tools you need to make the best decisions for you, not for your neighbor or for one of your best friends that lives in California. It's all about what's best for you. Another topic that I see quite a bit is about how much money you need for retirement. Now, I see a lot of declarations that you need to have $1 million. Others say no, 2 million, 2.5, 3 million. And I often, see people sort of push back on that and say, I don't think I'm going to have that. So what should I do? Well, you don't necessarily have to have that much. It depends on where you live, what lifestyle you want to have later. And if you want to work part time, there were so many ways to go into retirement these days. I mean, my mode of retirement basically is just reinvention. I reinvent myself rather than retire because I enjoy my work. So, you have to decide how you want to spend those years later. So you might not need 1 million. So it all depends. And I don't want anyone to despair if they have done work during their lives, which isn't going to allow them to reach that goal. You might only need 500,000 if you're living in a very low cost area. And there are all kinds of ways to adjust where you live, how you live. Maybe you won't even need a car if you don't have a lot of money. You could do public transportation. So there were all kinds of ways to try to work it out for yourself later. So please don't get all upset about not being able to, reach this arbitrary threshold that someone else who's probably making a lot of money has set for you. Okay. All that matters is what you think you need. Okay, and just prepare accordingly. And you can certainly do your best to save as much as possible given your circumstances. One thing you can do is temporarily get a side hustle or just do it during holidays. And then that money goes into a little fund for yourself. So, a lot of things like that you can do, cut back on the types of things you buy at the grocery store, all kinds of ways to just save on your everyday expenses. And once you're over, say, 55 or so, sometimes even the cutoff is 50, you can start getting senior discounts. So don't forget about that because you can actually save quite a bit. So you can look into all that as well. So please don't worry about what you are or are not going to have later. Just enjoy your life and save as much as you can. All right. It is what it is, right? And though you could take some steps to try to improve the outlook in the future, don't compare yourself to other people. This is why I don't discuss my net worth online. I'm not competing with you. You're not competing with me. I've made decisions and taken steps in my life that are different from what anyone else has taken. I don't compare myself to someone who has twice the net worth I do. And I see people declaring this stuff all the time, like on X, even on Instagram sometimes. I don't talk about those kind of things because it just seems personal to me for one thing, but I also don't want anyone to feel like they have to measure up to what I've done or think I can't possibly measure up to that. Why should I even try? I don't want anyone to feel discouraged. And so I think when you start saying, look at what I've done, sometimes it can have the opposite effect of what you've intended. And I do think that it's a good intention. And most people are doing this because they want to show you you can do it too. But we all have different skill sets, and some of our skill sets don't pay as well as others, okay? Some people are great at, marketing a business and some are not, even if they have a great idea. So don't compare apples and oranges, which is basically what that is. And it's also the same when you're talking about exactly how much money you need when you retire. Nobody knows how much they're going to need. Just do the best you can. Okay. All right. So I will close with this, which is kind of funny. Sometimes I'll see questions, like, do you want $1 million today or $10 million in 5 years? And I mean, it's endless, and people really engage with this stuff. There's something on social media called engagement farming. This is, do you like X, formerly known as Twitter? But I do see a lot of engagement farming. Like I saw this meme the other day. It was a little sign that said a graphic image that said, "Would you sleep in a graveyard one night for $500,000?" And I actually thought about that. And I ask a lot of questions. I research for a living, okay? I ask questions and I'm like, well, what season would it be? I mean, it's going to be cold. Can I bring a bodyguard with me? I mean, there are all kinds of questions that I had. And if the answer is if I can do it during mild temperatures and bring a bodyguard, yes, I'll do that. Thanks so much for joining me for episode 8, Bad Money Advice on Social Media. So it really just comes down to using your critical thinking skills when you see something on social media. Sometimes there is good advice. I mentioned that actually do like the loud budgeting, anything that makes you stand up for yourself and stick to your budget. That's a really good thing. So just think carefully about what someone is suggesting that you do. All right, next up, episode number 9, I'm going to talk about the economy and what it means for your wallet. You notice how sometimes you read something in the news media about how great the economy is, but maybe that's not your personal experience. Well, that's happening to a lot of people. So I'm going to talk about that in the next episode and share some insight that might help you make really good decisions in today's economy. No matter what's going on, you can still take care of your own personal economy.